Hello again, it's the end of January, time for a quick update on the fire truck behind me. I haven't posted anything for a little while because I've been accumulating bits and pieces for some upgrades that I'm going to be doing over the next month or so. So today I wanted to talk about a couple of questions that have come up in my comments and on my Instagram, mostly to do with why I haven't bothered with any insulation, or the fact that the insulation that I have put in the fire truck is completely inadequate. Well, let's go inside and have a look at that, and let's talk about the heater as well. So I've come inside the fire truck now. This is where I keep getting the comments about the type of insulation that I've done or haven't done. Now, the thing with the fire truck is this one has 5 roller shutters, and the roller shutters need to stay where they are. I really like the roller shutters, but they are ever so difficult to insulate properly. So let's have a look at what I've done. This here is a thermal curtain, the sort of thing that you might put up against a window, but I decided to make these and put them up against the roller shutters. That means that there is a small void behind them for air to move behind them, but I don't actually ever get any damp or condensation behind there. Now, the problem is that damp and condensation does tend to run down whatever it settles on and pool at the bottom, and that is where it causes a lot of damage. Now, I want to be able to see that and see what's going on so I can stop any rot, any other damage before it even happens. For heating, I do have the diesel heater. It's been in here for about 3 years now, and it just works perfectly. I've never felt the need to try and test it, to try and just to work out what it's up to. I just plugged it in, switched it on, and it just works. It just provides really great dry heat. So yeah, let's have a look at what that looks like underneath and outside, and just see what I've been doing with the exhaust bandage as well. So I've just applied a bit more of this exhaust wrap to the diesel heater exhaust, just to keep that slightly under control, because I'm always slightly concerned that the diesel fuel feed runs quite close to the exhaust. My diesel feed is run with the standard pipe within this. This is actually diesel injector leak-off pipe, fill pipe. So my diesel feed runs through this pipe, and this is my combustion air pipe. Small hole in the floor there, as the diesel heat is on the inside, sealed around the hole, so that's quite good and safe. Just here's the exhaust. Now, there's a lot of discussion about these exhausts, how they should be mounted, but there is a very tiny hole at the bottom there, which is designed to let any liquid that builds up in the exhaust drain out. So I've made sure that mine points downwards. I've seen them mounted horizontally, and I think that's wrong. I've got a decent bracket here as well, so it's all nice and solid. Put a little bit of extra pipe on the end just to make sure that there was a sort of a directable exhaust. Seems to work perfectly well. Just over here, this is my fill filter. This is mounted to the chassis, just got a little bit of insulation over it just to stop any stones from cracking it or whatever, just keep it clean and tidy. And then here's my fuel pump. This is also covered in the pipe lagging. That's in no way am I trying to actually reduce the noise of that. That's simply to stop it getting the worst of the road muck on it. So this is where the diesel heater lives, under the bed next to the toilet wall there. Got a little bit of a shield. I'm going to close that in a little bit more so I can use the section above it for a little bit of storage. This is a 5k diesel heater, 5 kilowatt. Works quite nicely. I'm going to start it up in a moment because it's getting a bit chilly. Yeah, so let's see what that does. So that's what it's like when the heater's running flat out. It's quite a noise, but it soon quietens down once it warms up inside. There it is, drawing all the air in. The air tends to circulate once this door's closed down, so it draws in air from around the truck and starts to warm up air that's already warmed. So this is the inlet here. This is an Eberspacher inlet, I think, not the one that came with the heater. I've got an isolator switch here which I use just to switch the power off to the heater completely. It's running flat out now. This is as loud as it gets, and just around here you can see the control panel, so easy access when I'm just waking up. You can switch that on quite easily. So up here just above the diesel heater we've got the carbon monoxide alarm and the smoke alarm. I've got another carbon monoxide alarm the other side of the truck near the sleeping area. So today outside it's probably about 2 degrees, and in here at the moment it's about 18 degrees. The diesel heater's running quite nicely. You can almost hear the pump from outside, but it is underneath the truck, so it's quite a way away. You can hear a slight whine from the fan within the heater itself, but other than that it's just really nice dry heat coming out of the heater, making this quite a nice place to be without that kind of sense of, you know, moisture and damp in the air. Yeah, so one of the big questions is why haven't I insulated the fire truck? Well, I have done a little insulation, but the build of the fire truck means it's actually quite tricky to insulate it correctly and still retain all the original features such as the roller shutters. It makes it very much more difficult to find voids or create walls to put insulation behind and within. Plus, I don't really like the idea of too much insulation. I like the fact that the truck can breathe, that all of the moisture that appears in the truck can actually get taken away from the truck rather than linger in here, cause lots of condensation and then further problems. The biggest problem that I seem to have had is that whenever I've had a van, and I've had vans for probably the last 35 years of different sorts, Volkswagen Type 2s, T25s, T4s, any of those vans, the problem is whenever you try and insulate them you always overdo it, and then the problem is you have too much air with too much moisture within the truck, and that is then a problem because nobody ever puts enough ventilation in their vehicle. So the idea of hermetically sealing yourself inside the truck only to find that you're causing yourself a condensation problem, that's not what I've been looking for with the fire truck. I want this thing to breathe nicely, and any moisture just needs to be gone, just needs to go out of the ventilation, and then you don't get any condensation. It just works like that. An example of that over insulation is here with this T5. I've had this T5 for a few years. It's, you know, really nicely insulated. It's fantastic at retaining the warmth, but you have to sleep with the windows open because there just simply isn't enough ventilation. I don't think this is going very well. I think what I'm trying to say is insulation on its own is not the whole story. What you're going to need is a really good source of dry heat and adequate ventilation as well, or you're going to have some problems. So what are some of the things that I need to do to this truck? Well, not a lot really, but I do want to have a few upgrades, and you may have seen the video, which I'll put a link to up here, about installing the wastewater tank. Well, finally I've got the freshwater tank ready to install underneath the truck. I've got a pressurized pressure vessel for pressurized water and a really good pump, and I want to replace the tap on the sink. So that's going to be one video. I've also bought some extra Victron bits and pieces. I've got a battery monitor and a new inverter which I need to install under the passenger seat, so we'll have a look at that as well. So I hope you liked the video. If you have, consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment. Hopefully the weather over the next few weeks will be pretty good, and I should be able to install all those extra bits and pieces and take you along with me. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!